These June delivery figures for the Chinese EV makers are showing some signs of improvement. Taking a look at Tesla shares, they're up more than 6% today. So that summer rally is continuing.
Much on both sides. You've got the bulls, you've got the bears out there. I like the downside from here.
They're saying things are bad. They've got an underweight rating, but then they named it to a tactical ideas list.
All that and more. So let's get to it. Tesla stock is down in the pre-market after an incredible run on yesterday. For the week, the stock is up almost 13%. But year to date, the stock is still down around 17%. Can Tesla reclaim all of those losses?
So we got some delivery figures out. Caroline, what's going on? Take us through them, because it seems like the China EVs are doing pretty well this morning.
These June delivery figures for the Chinese EV makers are showing some signs of improvement, and that's translating to some green arrows across the board. Signs of improvement from the U.S. listed Chinese shares, just in terms of stock price, but also in terms of kind of from a demand perspective, should be beneficial for other EV makers. So, of course, want to take a look at Tesla as well, and Tesla share is up about 3.6% today ahead of those delivery numbers.
What? Demand for battery electric vehicles hasn't fallen off a cliff? Imagine that! A lot of people want to paint a picture of BYD versus Tesla, or point to the Chinese market and be like, look, Tesla doesn't have 50% of the market share there, they must suck. When in actuality, it's about transitioning the Earth to a sustainable energy economy. All of these EV plays in China are doing that, creating high-quality battery electric vehicles. Tesla cannot produce the world's automotive transport by themselves. These EV players in China are Tesla's competition in the very loosest sense. The real competition is the internal combustion engine. Higher numbers for these Chinese EV players equals higher demand for EVs in general, taking away market share from the internal combustion engine. That's all that matters. Tesla's gonna sell their cars, don't worry. I mean, it's the best thing you could get on four wheels. The main takeaway is that even China, with a third of the market share being EVs, the appetite is not waning. In Europe, there's just a market share of about 20%. In the US, even less, around 10-12%. Everyone will get to where China is eventually. But with these tariffs in place for Chinese EV manufacturers, who do you think is gonna get the lion's share?
Taking a look at Tesla shares, they're up more than 6% today. So that summer rally is continuing, was up about 11% in June. So adding to that today, there are a few potential catalysts this summer that could really potentially give a boost to Tesla shares. The first being deliveries, and then there's Tesla earnings due out later in July. And then, of course, the robo-taxi launch, which is in early August. So that's really the key that the bulls are hanging their hats on in terms of a positive move higher in shares, but we're seeing a lot of optimism heading into the delivery numbers as well. Could also be kind of a little bit of crossover from the U.S. listed shares of Chinese EVs that are doing better today following signs of improvement in their June numbers. So we could be seeing Tesla getting a boost from that as well. In terms of the actual numbers that we're looking for Tesla tomorrow morning, consensus estimates calling for around 435,000, but the whisper number is for 420,000 EVs in the second quarter. Both are down from 466,000 in the second quarter a year ago. This would be the second consecutive decline. That 420,000 number would be about a 10% drop. But analysts are mixed heading into this report. Bulls clearly winning out today, though. Shares up more than 6% right now. Still down about 15% year to date, but really chipping away at those losses.
My number is somewhere around 425,000 units sold, but 50,000 in either direction wouldn't change my models very much. I am expecting considerably less growth for 2024. There are a few manufacturing techniques that Tesla needs to iron out before they can open up their Mexico factory, before they can produce more factories and resume that incredible growth rate of vehicles. On top of that, Tesla is much more than an auto manufacturer. They've got several irons in the fire. And those irons, they're red hot, people.
Looking at Tesla, I saw that it broke 200 back above the 200 level. So that's exciting for folks. 209.75 here. I think people are sort of eager to take it out of the Magnificent Seven, but they won't because they are waiting for the August 8th date.
Forget the Magnificent Seven. TSLA is the Lone Ranger, or Han Solo, at least in my opinion. In a decade's time, it'll be the only stock that really matters.
Yes, and listen, there's so much that everybody can debate about Tesla, about Elon Musk, right? So we don't need to get into the give and takes. Here's the bottom line, in my opinion. The quarter two delivery figures are coming up. Their margins keep compressing. China's not improving. Now, the stock on this morning is rallying. It has actually traded above the 200-day moving average, which is something I was looking at for some resistance. It is hard to fade the Musk. I am buying an August expiration put spread, which will take into consideration the next delivery figures, I think the next earnings cycle. So I'm buying the 190, 170 put spread. This stock, honestly, there's so much on both sides. You've got the bulls, you've got the bears out there. I like the downside from here. I just think that it's really up against a stiff fight at this point.
I'm not so sure. The summer rally is real. The main question is, can Tesla find its legs, restore the losses of earlier this year? After these Q2 results, the numbers should improve dramatically as we head into 2025. What other catalyst could possibly spur Tesla's growth?
There's going to be some catalysts out there over the next several weeks in Tesla. First and foremost will be deliveries for June. Saw a bunch of the Chinese automakers release their numbers. Tesla's usually a day or two behind them. So that's going to be one of the catalysts. Then also you've got the catalyst of earnings later this week. They report on the 17th. Expectations really low going into that report. But then also August 8th, their robotaxi day, where they're going to give us some clarity on what their plans are creating this robotaxi. So you've got some catalysts on the horizon for Tesla. And then also you look at Wells Fargo came out with a note. They added the Tesla to the firm's Q3 tactical ideas list for 2024. But they've still got a $120 price target and an underweight rating. So it's almost like they're saying things are bad. They've got an underweight rating, but then they named it to a tactical ideas list. If they're doing it on the short side, it's kind of getting pounded today because the stock is up, as we said, about 7% today. Expected to be around 420,000 vehicles delivered. That'd be a decrease of about 9% from year-ago levels. But I'm hearing the whisper numbers are maybe under 400,000, but then I heard some other whisper numbers above 440,000.
No one knows, but it doesn't matter. 50,000 in either direction of 425,000. I just need them to be doing their job, selling vehicles the best they can as they iron out the next manufacturing process. This number holds very little value in the grand scheme of things when we're talking about Tesla 5 years from now. TSLA has put on some sunscreen. They are all about this summer rally. But you don't want to get burned too bad. There's still plenty of bears out and about. Tesla's Q2 numbers, they're not going to be as good as they were a year ago, but for very good reason. Low-hanging fruit would be that EV demand is waning. There's no chance that people are going to buy EVs when they could buy a hybrid or an internal combustion engine. Yeah. We know how that's going to go in the long term. But the Chinese EV manufacturers, limited to their own backyard for these tariff purposes, their numbers are continuing to grow. This will play out around the world. Europe, the United States, and then everywhere else. The resistance here in the United States is palpable. Infrastructure issues, all the FUD that comes in about Teslas and all other EVs, all of that is white noise as we proceed into the next decade. Autonomy will force our hand. Electrification is on the horizon. That's all I've got for you today. Be easy. Peace.